Disaster hotspot states in the US. Are you in a safe haven or danger zone? Why does it feel like the weather is getting angrier every year? Hurricanes are stronger, wildfires are spreading faster, and tornadoes seem to be popping up in places they never used to. Are we just more aware of these disasters, or is there something bigger happening? Natural disasters in the United States are no longer just occasional, unpredictable events. They're becoming more frequent, more severe, and far more costly. In fact, if you feel like the news is constantly reporting billion-dollar disasters, you're not imagining it. Over the past few decades, the number of billion-dollar weather and climate disasters has skyrocketed, painting a concerning picture of the future. Back in the 1980s, the US averaged about 9 such disasters per year. Fast forward to the last 5 years, and that number has jumped to 23 per year. That's more than double, and the trend doesn't seem to be slowing down. But what's behind this surge? Climate change plays a starring role. As global temperatures rise, so too does the energy driving many of these disasters. Warmer oceans mean more powerful hurricanes that carry devastating winds and catastrophic flooding, as we've seen with storms like Hurricane Ian in Florida or Hurricane Harvey in Texas. Hotter, drier conditions in the western US have turned vast areas of forest into tinderboxes, fueling the kind of wildfires that can tear through entire towns in a matter of hours. And even floods, arguably one of the oldest and most predictable disasters, are becoming more extreme as warmer air holds more moisture, turning a typical rainstorm into a deluge. But it's not just about the climate. Geography plays a significant role too. Let's think about the Gulf Coast for a second. This region is like a magnet for hurricanes because of its warm waters and its position along the Atlantic hurricane corridor. Meanwhile, states in Tornado Alley, such as Oklahoma and Kansas, are perfectly positioned for the collision of warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico and cool, dry air from the Rockies, an ideal recipe for tornado formation. The West Coast? It sits on the fiery ring of fire where tectonic plates collide, setting the stage for earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. In other words, where you live in the US can dramatically shape which natural disasters you're most likely to face. That's not all, there's the human factor. The US population has grown by over 100 million people since 1980, and urban sprawl has pushed communities deeper into disaster-prone areas. For example, new housing developments in wildfire-prone regions of California or flood-prone areas of the Southeast put more people in harm's way. At the same time, aging infrastructure, like outdated dams, power grids, and levee systems, makes it harder for communities to withstand the forces of nature. And when disaster does strike, it's often the most vulnerable populations, low-income families, elderly individuals, and those in isolated areas who face the greatest challenges in escaping and recovering. The costs of these disasters are staggering. Since 1980, the US has experienced over $400 billion natural disasters. In total, these events have caused more than $2.9 trillion in damages. But money isn't the only cost. Lives are lost, families are displaced, and entire communities are sometimes left unrecognizable. For example, Hurricane Katrina in 2005 caused an estimated $125 billion in damages, but its human toll was even greater, with more than 1,800 lives lost and countless more forever changed. Those scars don't fade quickly, so why does it matter whether a state is considered safe or deadly for natural disasters? Well, it's not just about knowing where to avoid moving. It's about understanding how our world is changing and how we can adapt to it. Some states may face fewer natural disasters, but does that mean they're truly safe? And for the states that are disaster hotspots, what can be done to protect the people who live there? These questions are becoming more urgent by the day as we grapple with the reality of a changing climate and the growing risk it brings. Natural disasters aren't going anywhere. In fact, they're becoming an increasingly central part of the American experience. Understanding why they're happening more often, where they're hitting the hardest, and how we can respond to them might just be the key to protecting ourselves and our future. When you think of the deadliest states for natural disasters, what comes to mind? Is it the hurricanes that batter the Gulf Coast, the tornadoes that rip through the Midwest, or the wildfires that engulf the West? The truth is, some states face a perfect storm of geographic, climatic, and socio-economic factors that make them far more vulnerable to natural disasters than others. Let's dive into the states that bear the brunt of nature's fury and explore why they're so prone to devastation. Florida, for instance, is practically synonymous with hurricanes. Its long coastline and warm waters make it a prime target for tropical storms that grow into massive hurricanes. In recent years, storms like Hurricane Ian and Hurricane Michael have left trails of destruction, with billions of dollars in damages and countless lives disrupted. Florida's vulnerability isn't just about geography, though. Its booming population and dense coastal development mean that when a hurricane hits, it impacts millions of people and billions of dollars worth of property. The state's flat terrain also makes it highly susceptible to storm surges and flooding, compounding the damage. Then there's Texas, a state that seems to face every type of natural disaster imaginable. Hurricanes like Harvey have dumped record-breaking rainfall, causing catastrophic flooding. Tornadoes frequently tear through the state's northern regions, while droughts and wildfires plague its western areas. Texas's sheer size and diverse geography mean that no part of the state is entirely safe from nature's wrath. Add to that its rapidly growing population and urban sprawl, and you have a recipe for disaster. The state's infrastructure often struggles to keep up with the demands of its population, leaving communities vulnerable when disaster strikes. California, on the other hand, is a state defined by its natural beauty and its natural hazards. Earthquakes are an ever-present threat thanks to the state's location along the San Andreas Fault. But in recent years, wildfires have become California's most devastating natural disasters. Fueled by hotter, drier conditions and strong winds, these fires have destroyed entire towns, like Paradise in 2018, and caused billions of dollars in damages. The state's drought conditions only make matters worse, creating a tinderbox that's ready to ignite at any moment. And while California has some of the strictest building codes and disaster preparedness measures in the country, the scale and frequency of these disasters often overwhelm even the best-laid plans. Louisiana is another state that's no stranger to disaster. Hurricane Katrina in 2005 remains one of the deadliest and costliest natural disasters in US history, with over 1,800 lives lost and $125 billion in damages. The state's low-lying geography and extensive coastline make it highly vulnerable to hurricanes and flooding. Even smaller storms can cause significant damage, as the state's levee systems and infrastructure are often unable to handle the sheer volume of water. Socioeconomic factors also play a role, as many of Louisiana's residents lack the resources to evacuate or recover from disasters, leaving them disproportionately affected. To top off this list of dangerous states for disasters, we have the Sooner State, Oklahoma, the heart of Tornado Alley. This state experiences some of the most powerful and destructive tornadoes in the world. With wind speeds that can exceed 200 miles per hour, tornadoes can strike with little warning, leaving residents with only minutes to seek shelter. The state's flat terrain and unique weather patterns make it a hotspot for these deadly storms, which often leave a trail of destruction in their wake. While Oklahoma has made strides in tornado preparedness, such as building storm shelters and improving early warning systems, the sheer frequency and intensity of these storms make it one of the deadliest states for natural disasters. So, what makes these states so vulnerable? It's a combination of factors: their geographic location, which exposes them to specific hazards, their population density and urbanization, which increase the potential for damage, and their socio-economic challenges, which make it harder for communities to prepare for and recover from disasters. Climate change is also amplifying these risks, making hurricanes stronger, wildfires more intense, and tornadoes more unpredictable. What do you think is the most dangerous state for natural disasters, and why? Is it the hurricanes of Florida, the wildfires of California, or the tornadoes of Oklahoma? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Understanding the deadliest states for natural disasters isn't just about pointing fingers at geography or climate. It's about recognizing the challenges these states face and finding ways to mitigate the risks. Whether it's through better infrastructure, stricter building codes, or more effective disaster response systems, there's always room for improvement. And as we'll see in the next section, some states have managed to avoid the worst of nature's fury. But does that mean they're truly safe? When it comes to natural disasters, no state is completely immune. But some states, thanks to their geography, climate, and preparedness, manage to avoid the worst of nature's fury. These states are often seen as safe havens from the hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, and floods that plague other parts of the country. But does being safe mean being completely free from risk? Let's explore the states that are considered the safest and why they've earned that reputation. Take Michigan, for example. Nestled in the Great Lakes region, Michigan is largely shielded from hurricanes, tornadoes, and wildfires. Its inland location and cooler climate mean it doesn't face the same risks as coastal or southern states. While it does experience occasional flooding and severe winter storms, these events are generally less destructive compared to the disasters seen in states like Florida or California. Michigan's relative safety makes it an attractive option for those looking to avoid the chaos of frequent natural disasters. Minnesota is another state that stands out for its safety. While it's no stranger to harsh winters, Minnesota is largely spared from hurricanes, earthquakes, and wildfires. Its northern location and lack of coastline protect it from many of the disasters that wreak havoc elsewhere. However, even Minnesota isn't completely off the hook. It has faced occasional flooding and severe storms. Still, compared to the rest of the country, it remains one of the safest places to live. Utah, with its stunning desert landscapes and mountainous terrain, is also considered relatively safe. While it does have some earthquake risk due to its location near fault lines, the state is largely free from hurricanes, tornadoes, and wildfires. Its inland position protects it from the coastal storms that batter other states, and its dry climate reduces the risk of flooding. Utah's preparedness measures and infrastructure also contribute to its reputation as a safe state. Maine and Vermont, tucked away in the northeastern corner of the US, round out the list of safest states. These states benefit from their northern location, which keeps them out of the path of hurricanes and tornadoes. While they do experience winter storms and occasional flooding, their lower population density and rural landscapes reduce the potential for widespread damage. Vermont's mountainous terrain and Maine's rugged coastline also provide some natural protection against disasters. But even these safe states face challenges. Severe winter storms can cause power outages and disrupt daily life. Flooding, while less frequent, can still occur, particularly in areas near rivers or lakes. And as climate change continues to reshape weather patterns, even the safest states may find themselves facing new risks. For example, warmer temperatures could lead to more intense storms or increased flooding in areas that were previously considered low risk. So, what can we learn from these states? First, geography plays a huge role in determining a state's safety. States that are inland, away from coastlines and major fault lines, tend to face fewer natural disasters. Second, preparedness matters. States with strong infrastructure, effective building codes, and comprehensive disaster response plans are better equipped to handle whatever nature throws their way. And finally, even the safest states aren't completely immune to disasters. It's important for residents everywhere to stay informed and prepared, no matter where they live. As we wrap up this exploration of the safest and deadliest states for natural disasters, one thing is clear. Understanding the risks is the first step towards staying safe. Whether you live in a disaster-prone state like Florida or a relatively safe one like Michigan, being prepared can make all the difference. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more fascinating insights into the world around us.